Hello and welcome to the Watch News channel. I'm Nick and this is the RMALTI RM001 GMT. Reviewing the RMALTI RM001 GMT, utilizing the new Seiko NH34. I bought the original RM001, which has an NH35, when I saw it released on AliExpress, as I was impressed by the look of its quality and the listing shots. At this time, when I bought the watch, RMALTI had sold zero and had 0% feedback. But they were real photos, not renders, so I took the plunge and I was glad I did, as it was a superb watch, and still is, I still own it. So when I saw they'd released a GMT version, and a grey dial with a bit of red on it, if you watched my previous videos, you'd probably get that reference. Packing the new NH34, I had to pick one up. But is it better or is it as good as the original RMALTI RM001? So this watch is powered by the NH34A, new automatic movement based on the, of course, Seiko branded 4R34 as part of the NH family of movements. The most notable feature in the NH34, of course, is that it's a GMT complication, a 24-hour hand. And this particular movement was released in the summer of 2022. So the NH34 is a 24 jewel, 22,000 BPH with 41 hours power reserve. It's hand windable, hackable. It's basically an NH35 with the extra hand, with the GMT function. It is classed as an office GMT. I'm not that big on my GMTs to know the sort of the true difference, but I don't believe it's classed as a true GMT. If it's as good as an NH35, I think it's a good choice for this watch. More reliable than any of the other sort of GMT movements we've seen Pagani and other AliExpress brands use. So it's nice to see these Seiko making these movements. I can only apologize for my voice here. The whole family's ill at the moment. I'm full up with cold. It's the reason I haven't done intro and outro videos, because no one wants to see my face as it is at the moment. Well, people don't want to see it anyway, but just to give you an idea of like some of the differences now between the original RM001 and the GMT. The original's got a case thickness 11.95 mil, and then the GMT's got a case thickness of 12.3 mil. Of course, this is to accommodate the GMT hand because the pinion's got to be higher. The effect of this does give you more case visibility, as in between the chapter ring and the top of the crystal, which doesn't look as good, I don't think, as it does on the original. But there's nothing they could do about that. They had to make it higher to accommodate the GMT hand. So it's going to be like that no matter what. But the case thickness doesn't affect it too badly. That extra couple of mil, it still weighs well on a leather. It's pretty good. So the bracelet. Now, if you watch the unboxing, you would know the reason why the bracelet's not attached to the watch is because I couldn't size it. The screws, one of the screws in particular, just kept turning and I just couldn't get it out. And it meant that I couldn't size it to my wrist. So I left it off. Contacted RMALTI and let them know of my issue. And I have to say, they were really good. They straight away come back saying that they were sorry about the issue and what they could do about it. And they offered to send me a new bracelet. So a new bracelet is in the post coming out to me. hopefully without the screw issues. Just going to run over the few issues with this watch now. I won't call them negatives as such. It's more the case that, like personal preference, I would have preferred things a different way, or I think things have just not been quite done as well as they could have been. So, first one, Lume on the hour hand. I feel like it should have gone to the tip of the hour hand. As you see here in the, it kind of sort of stops short, and it's not quite a crisp cut to the loom. And also, the hand looks like it's been loomed from the top rather than from behind, which has sort of made it look like it's sitting on top of the hand rather than coming through from the back, which is how it's supposed to look. So yeah, that seems a bit odd to me. Also, another thing with the loom, which it's a pet hate of mine, the loom on the hands don't match the indices. The loom on the hands is a much brighter white, and the loom on the indices has got a bit of a yellowish tinge to it. It's BGW9, the loom, and so it glows blue, but for whatever reason, I'm guessing it's because of the amount of layers they've put on, but on the indices, it's just got that tinge to it, whereas the hands don't have that. Again, probably because the layering, because the hands got a lot less layers, but it's not a good look. The sunburst dial lacks a bit of depth. Could have been a touch darker, in my opinion, to allow that GMT hand to really pop. That red against the sort of darker grey would have been better. The design of the bezel makes the watch way smaller than its 40mm size. It's more like a 38 visually overhead, which causes an issue then with the 22mm lug width and the 12.2 thickness, as it just looks a bit off. I think there may be less AR on the crystal than on the RM001. It just doesn't seem to be as clear. The bezel doesn't feel like it's had as much, hasn't had much thought put into it, really. The numerals are too close to the edge of the bezel, and it really does just look like they sort of picked up the original one and thought, oh, how do we make this a GMT? Oh, I know, carve some numerals into the bezel rather than actually sort of thinking it out and creating a proper bezel for this watch. The half index next to the date window is gone, which was on the original RM001, which I personally really liked. I know why they got rid of it. It's because they've loomed the hands and the indices, whereas they weren't loomed on the other one. So it's easier to just get rid than try and loom it. Slight rough edge to the back of the minute hand, which actually links in to the positives of the watch, which I'll get into next. But I did notice there's just a bit of a slight rough edge. So now on to the positive elements of this watch. The finishing is excellent across the watch, just like it was on the RM001, the original. The case is beautifully brushed and polished with excellent chamfers. And the macro, they aren't as smooth, but to the eye, they look great. The hands are amazing. It looks like I could shave with them. That's how sharp they look. Taking me back to the point from earlier about the rough edge. The only reason I noticed the slight roughness at the back of the hand is because the rest of the hand is immaculate. If it was a regular hand on a watch from pretty much any other Ali brand, I don't think I'd even notice. Case cutouts to stop strap rubbing. Why all brands don't make this just a general requirement on all cases, I don't know. It just makes sense. You've got a leather strap, you don't want it rubbing up against the case. Drilled lugs, always a positive point in my mind. The sign crown, logo could be etched a little deeper, but it is decent enough. And the crown has a positive feel, clear clicks to each setting, and the winding is nice and smooth on my example of this NH34. So I mentioned earlier that the GMT wears more like a 38 in my opinion because of the bezel. So if I do a little comparison here, so here we've got the watch on the left that is a 39mm watch. You see there on my 6.75-inch wrist, and then if you compare to the GMT, it looks a little smaller, doesn't it? So yeah, it weighs like a 38, but it is, it's 40 mil. And here's the 40 mil original RM001, which I think weighs like a 40 mil. And here's a 37 mil Seiko King Quartz, just to give you a sort of, the idea of sizing. So yeah, so on my 6.75 inch wrist, it weighs really well. But I do feel that it weighs smaller than its dimension on paper. So yeah, it definitely weighs more like a 38, 39 mil. So I've got a question for you now. So in my Seastone video, I talked about how homages are perhaps getting a bit too close to the originals and not being such a homage anymore. Well, with this particular watch with a grey dial and a red GMT hand, there is a original design watch out there that you can buy that is reasonably priced. It's not the Breitling, of course. It is this, the Venetian. I can't say it in the Italian name, but Venezianico. But it's an original watch, and it makes me think: shouldn't we be buying an original design? I mean, look at this thing. It looks good. It looks really good. BGW9, grey dial. It's got the red GMT hand. It's very similar. 200 meters water resistance. Similar kind of setup. It's got the NH34 in it. $370 or £310 now, right now, on their website. I mean, I'm really tempted. Really tempted. So there we have it, the RMALTI RM001 GMT. Is it a bad watch? No, not at all. Is it a great watch? No, not really. Is it a good watch? Yes, I'd say it is. The finishing is definitely on par with many entry Swiss watches that I've owned and handled, but it does feel a bit unfinished and a little uninspired. The not quite right bezel, the mismatch in lume, my bracelet issues. Of course, that's likely a one-off, and the fact that RMALTI have sent me a replacement bracelet sort of really makes up for that. But it has left me feeling a little underwhelmed with the watch overall. If I didn't already own the original RM001, would I be so critical? No, I don't think I would be. I think the original has spoilt me a bit, as it's basically this watch without the issues. So I picked up the GMT in the AliExpress sale, and it cost me $220, £187. Now they're $267, £230. Would I buy it for $267? No, I don't think I would. But it is back down to $220 now in the current Black Friday sale, although that might end by the time I put this out, to be honest. It's not got enough individuality to separate it from the original, and the little issues, they do spoil it for me. So my recommendation on this occasion would be to buy the original one, as it's just got that, it feels like a cohesive watch. It feels like the design all works together, whereas the GMT is just a little off. Well, thanks for joining me. Affiliate links are in the description for this watch and the original. If you've enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments. Please like and subscribe. If you didn't enjoy the video and want to provide some feedback, it's always appreciated. If you haven't already checked out my review of the original RMALTI RM001, then click the thumbnail that's on screen. If I've worked out how to do that. Hopefully I have, and it's there. If not, then look back through my catalog. I've only done a few videos. It's not going to be hard to find. That's great. Well, again, thank you for joining me. I hope to see you next time. I've been Nick for the Watch News channel. Thank you for watching. Cheers.